yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Welcome into Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in, woodwardsports.com, wherever you're watching. Beautiful Wednesday night here with the boys, man. We've got a full squad here. As you guys come in, hit that like button, share the stream with someone, tell someone about Woodward Sports, and hit subscribe as well while we're trying to grow this thing out. Look, you guys are going to be shocked. I kept seeing comments the last couple days, does Booner have hair? I did not wear a hat today. I have hair, and at the same time, I'm growing the mullet out, baby.
Let's go.
Things are going. The new best hair at Woodward Sports, I'll tell you what.
Well, it's taking a little too far.
Self-proclaimed best hair.
It will be the best. By the time my mullet...
Self-proclaimed best hair.
By the time this is all done, this will be the best hair at Woodward Sports. I will guarantee you that. Remember, I do not lose. My name is Booner, though, as always. Matt Broder, Detroit Lions beat reporter.
Say that and not give anyone a chance to rebuttal.
KG at the real KG.
What up, dog?
That might be
How
the
you
best
feeling
hair at
today,
Woodward.
KG?
Oh yeah, you know it.
Let's go. You feeling good?
Oh yeah.
You were up early today.
You know I'm a grinder, man. But yeah, I'm getting over the sickness still, but I'm almost 100%.
Yeah. Hey, yesterday when I got during the show yesterday, behind the scenes a little bit. If you guys didn't notice and listen to my voice yesterday, my throat, it was like this close of being gone for the week. And so today, if you guys are like, if I mess up a little bit, voice is that close. But we're going. Nick, how we feeling today? And over there in the sound booth.
In the night time. You know, we got the wings going. It was National Signing Day for college. I know we have a special guest coming up at 9 o'clock to preview some college football playoff stuff. It's going to be an electric show here on the nighttime Woodward Nights, baby. Let's go.
We've got a special guest, 9 p.m. We've got Anthony Broom. You guys may have seen him on Woodward Sports before. I know he's been on the morning show a couple times in the past, but Anthony Broom will be joining us. I believe he was Wolverine.com on 3. And today, if you guys didn't know, there's a lot of Jim Harbaugh news, whether it's violations or him going to the NFL. Obviously, the college football playoff in a few weeks, and as well as there has been National Signing Day today. So we'll get a look inside of everything that's going on with that.
It's a big day for Michigan.
Huge.
Not necessarily
huge day.
Big news all around, but there's some news that circulated out of Ann Arbor in the last couple hours. So it'll be interesting to hear what Anthony Broom has to say about the notice of what is it? The NOA, the notice of I'm blanking on that word, but basically the NCAA had their findings for the initial, the Burger Gate stuff that we'll talk in more detail about.
I'm excited, too, to hear some stuff because I want to know some things I want to ask him. Connor Stalions, that situation.
Notice of allegation. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. I want to talk to him, though, a little bit about where that's going to be in the offseason. And obviously, I want to kind of look inside of how he's feeling for the college football playoffs with Bama. In the Woodward Sports chat, Shane Daniels, shout out, longtime listener, said the Booner path to looking like Theo Vaughn. Fun fact, at Woodward Sports in the back, a lot of people say Theo, the way I act, I guess, the way in the back I talk and kind of go about my daily life, people say Theo Vaughn's my older brother, and I have some Shane Gillis in me. So I've got around here I'm known as like a mixture of Theo Vaughn and Shane Gillis, which I'll take.
Just two of the hottest comedians on planet Earth right now.
That's not me. I don't give myself names out. When I walk on, I'm just Booner. And when they're like, hey, you remind me of a young Theo Vaughn. Okay. You remind me of Shane Gillis. Okay.
I like it.
I'll take both, man. Maybe I should get into some stand-up. I've talked about it before.
Are you a Bert Kreischer fan?
Bert's good. I went to the movies. Actually, fun fact, I went to the movies all by myself and watched the Bert Kreischer movie.
The Russian?
Yes.
Or The Machine?
The Machine.
The Machine.
We were doing that. I don't know if you guys remember at the beginning of the Lions season where I was coming on air, and every time I was on there, I was like, I'm the Machine! And I kept doing
the
that.
original stand-up of that's hilarious.
Yeah, great. No, those
like
guys
Nick
are
Cannon,
great. Hilarious. And I'll take Theo Vaughn, though, and I'll take Shane Gillis. They're the funniest guys in the world right now.
Yes.
Brother, how are you feeling? You were in Allen Park today. I know we're going to get into that about 8:15.
It was
feeling
so
good?
great. It was so great. Spent some time with CD Deuce. He's almost CD Deuce.
Yeah, that's the question I had, because he's called himself CJ again, and I've heard him call himself and I hear people call him CJ.
All the paperwork has been submitted.
Okay.
He said it'll be accepted sometime next year. Like, it might be a 6-month process. He just says call him Deuce. He
Deuce?
says call me Deuce.
When I post
So that's
this
what I'm
stuff
calling him,
on
Deuce.
socials, I still put CJ Garner-Johnson.
That's fine.
I do that until we get the official. I don't want to.
I got it. I'm up here. You want to see it? It says call me Deuce.
No, I trust you.
All right.
I'm just, when we do socials
Fine.
and stuff, I'm gonna go CJ until, and he might hit me up and say, hey Booner, call me Deuce, and once he does that, once he's like, hey Booner,
I will not stand in the way of an interaction between you two. It's epic.
that would be an all-time interaction.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do, but
We're going to talk more about him, but he came back. He is so focused and locked into finishing the season strong. There's an energy in Allen Park that haven't felt in a while, despite this successful season.
Yes.
Since week 2 he's been out. So the last couple weeks have been a little rough, but this season there's been a lot of good times down in Allen Park. It's back. Like, that energy is back, and it's not like a confident, or it's not like an arrogant, we're 10-4 energy. It's this job hasn't, like we're just getting started here. We got work to do these next couple weeks.
yeah, I'm excited. At 8:15, we're gonna talk about that. I clipped some videos, and I think some of these videos they're pretty good. And I know some are short, some are long, but like there are some very interesting things that CJ talked about today. 8:30, we're gonna get into some Jahmyr Gibbs stuff. There was a lot of things that happened with Jahmyr Gibbs. Louis Riddick talked about him. Hank Fraley today talked about him. There was a lot of different. There's some stats at 8:45. Jeff put a tweet out today that I want to talk about as well. I know they talked about it on the morning show. I want to dig deep into that as well a little bit. Is this Jeff tweet? 9 o'clock, we'll have Anthony Broom on. 9:15, I brought another question for the boys. I want to go around the room with this question. I brought another question for you fellas, and I want you guys to answer it. 9:30, we're going to take some callers, and then 9:50, we're going to get into mailbag. Quickly, too, I do want to ask you this. I don't think this is a dead situation, but Ndamukong Suh visited the Dolphins today. Did anyone see that?
I did.
They said it once he left. I don't know if this is a negative for him, but once he left the visit, a lot of reports started coming out that there was no there was no immediate contract talks or anything. So I don't know what the situation is with him now. And I know that's something that a lot of people in Detroit really wanted. If he leaves Miami and there was no offer, does that make you feel a little bit better in Detroit, being like, okay, maybe he's not at that level right now to where maybe he is, and maybe they're like, hey, let's talk about it next week.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it may be more to them just not wanting to sign him versus it being a talent fit or whatever. I mean, I'm trying to think the two people that know Ndamukong Suh, or the two parties that know Suh the best, are Dan Campbell and the Miami Dolphins, who are he actually may have played a year after Dan Campbell, but they know what he's like in a locker room, in a playoff race, as a competitor. They know what they're going to get out of Ndamukong Suh, which is probably different than what we know or expect or think or could speculate on. So whatever reason it is, you would think if someone really wanted him, and at this point in the season, you wouldn't let him leave the building without a contract.
In the chat, Tyler Chavez said, I don't think Suh is coming back unless it's the Ravens or 49ers. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not saying he's going to come back to Detroit or anything. It's just more so since I remember when he did it and we signed, what's his name in the middle? Who was it? Who am I'm blanking on?
Tyson
Alualu. Once we signed him, everyone was like, why didn't you guys get Suh? I think maybe that gives you a little bit of a step back. Maybe it's like, hey, maybe he wasn't like ready like we all thought he was. Nick, what you have here?
Yeah, I mean, it's week 16. So, like, what is he expecting? You know, is he going in there for a big contract already just to play a few games? Is that why he didn't do it? Or is he looking to show up and practice once or twice a week? I don't know what Suh's problem is, but if Miami's not taking him, I got a tough idea that he's probably getting a spot anywhere. I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't see him. I mean, maybe he might get somewhere like the Eagle or like Tyler said in there, maybe the Ravens just to get a little depth if they need it. But I just don't see him coming to Detroit. I think that's kind of what's the saying? Like beating a dead bird?
Hard pass.
Is that the saying?
Yeah.
Beating a dead
horse.
Beating a dead horse. That's what it is. I don't know why I thought of a bird. Maybe the Eagles and the Ravens. That was why.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
see, that's my Theo Vaughn coming out in me, man.
We don't mess with dolphins, though. Ever since Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, just leave those animals
movie,
alone.
by the way.
One of my favorites.
Man, that's a great movie.
That's my Halloween costume several years.
All right, next thing here, too, before we get going and get into break, I have two more things. First thing, did you guys see Jerry Rice's top 5 wide receivers?
I did.
He had the man himself. KG, if you want to throw it up there, I put the graphic in there.
Yep, I got you. 1 second.
They had. He obviously he put himself number 1.
Which I'm glad.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, when he got asked it, he said, "Don't put him." Like he was like, "Don't put yourself in it." I think it was Fred Warner. Like, don't put yourself in it. But I want to see your top 5. Guess who we had in it though? And this seems like every top 5 I ever see with wide receivers, Kelvin Johnson is in everyone's top 5. I've never seen the top 5 without Kelvin Johnson.
I think this validates it the most for me. Seeing Jerry Rice, because we've seen in really reputable, and you can throw that up whenever you want, KG, really reputable wide receivers, football players talk about Kelvin Johnson as one of the best in the top 5, but now to see Jerry Rice, who's widely regarded as the number 1, I love it.
I want to throw it out there too. I went back and watched the video. When he did it as well, they put this graphic out, and another graphic they put out too had Kelvin at number 2. When he said the list, he just said names. He didn't say this is like an order. He just listed names, and he started with T.O., Randy, Carter, and then Kelvin Johnson. So like,
now what do you think about number 4 on this list? That's Chris Carter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who I believe he's underrated in terms of just his history as a wide receiver in the NFL. He was one of the best ever. I don't know if he's top 5 though. Like I think he gets glossed over when people talk about some of the best of all time. But his hand, like when he and when he and Randy Moss were together in Minnesota, that was like the first. That was the most electrifying 1-2 punch that I remember seeing growing up. You had the deep threat with Randy Moss. Randy Moss could do everything, but Chris Carter, he was that Brandon Ayuk. He was that Chris route runner. He had hands like freaking Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like he caught everything.
Time out real quick. I'm getting absolutely shredded in the chat right now for my hair. Eduardo said, "Booner, put your hat back on." Orny 3 U of M. I don't know how to pronounce that. He said Booner stole his sister's hair blow dryer.
It's Orner U of M dad.
Orner, yeah. Jay Cruzen. Booner is Bruno the kid hair.
Pew pew.
I mean, people are just going at me. Johnny Bravo from Mike Hilton. Hey, I appreciate it. You know what? I don't know what to do with my hair. All I do is I just wake up and I take out of the shower and just boom, and like it just.
Can you make the noise one more time?
And it just sits
Everything's
up there,
gonna
man.
be fine.
And it goes to the side, it goes up. I like my hair.
Going up.
I'm growing a mullet for
on a
you guys,
Wednesday.
and you guys are going at my hair, talking about Johnny Bravo, and I'm doing a mullet for the people? Come on. What are we doing here? I'm going to have to shave the mullet now.
Now, if there's ever the Stafford debate, you can throw Calvin in. You can throw this list in as evidence.
Yeah, I think the Jerry Rice coming out and saying Calvin, I think like you said, it puts a close, like an end to it. But like when you do see these top 5 lists, they rotate so much, and the only people who are really in it every time is like a Jerry Rice and Kelvin Johnson, and those are the 2 guys no matter what are in it. Randy, I've seen lists I think without Randy, like I've seen lists without certain guys,
like
and. It's always you're good. It's just always Kelvin. It's always Jerry Rice, and those are the 2 guys that's in every top 5 list.
Yes.
So I think it's solidified now.
Solidified.
Big Simmy says, "Booner, you're growing a mullet for us." Who asked you for that? Because it wasn't me. Hey, we did a poll a couple weeks ago, and it was like 95 to 5 for me to get a mullet. And when the poll like I do it. I'm a man of the people, man. Come on.
I like it, and you are going to look like Theo Vaughn with a little bit of mullet action.
That's fair. Maybe we'll get a picture together.
Need to be a little more self-deprecating.
I will. Hey,
a little more dog like this.
Real quick, too. Last thing, I want to in KG. I don't know if you have them ready, but the standings graphics. Let me see if I put them in there today. I might have put them in yesterday, and I don't know how difficult that would be.
Grab them either way.
Yeah, so Pete Prisco and Stephen A. Smith, they both had them. There's one thing with Pete's that I want to talk about that kind of bothered me a little bit. And then Stephen A. I don't know if you guys remember when Stephen A. kind of went off on he had the Lions in his top 5, or he had them at number 1 a month ago, and then right after he just went on a rant about how big frauds the Detroit Lions
Started dropping the F word, F word so much,
and he was just going at the Lions. Well, guess what? This week, Stephen A. Smith redid his top 5. And guess what? The Lions back in it. They aren't just 5. They're not 4. They're in his top 3. Stephen A. Smith put the Lions back in the top 3. So it's like you could see kind of a little bit how he switches up and how kind of on his end a lot of it might be a little bit for the clicks.
For the FTC?
For the clicks, man.
Yeah.
A lot of it might be for the clicks.
Yes, Nick?
Yep, Nick?
Yeah, I just want to give a.
And there it is up there on the board as well. You guys can see it up on the TV. The Detroit Lions, they're third. Number three. And he was calling them frauds a couple weeks ago. Thank you, Stephen A.
That's what we talked about last night. Like that
Stephen A
3,
might be
4,
a
5,
flip-flopper.
6. And he put Bills in there. How do you feel about that?
Shout out, Bills are
There we go.
they're
But
up
it's
there.
that 3, 4, 5, 6 we talked about last night. Everyone's got a little different order. Putting the Detroit Lions there, I'm okay with it.
Nick, where you going with over there?
Yeah, I know we have a lot of hype, positive Lions talk that we're going to be getting to, but one thing we do have to mention is the Red Wings are spiraling right now. They're currently down 1-0 against the Jets. Since Patrick Kane's debut, it's not going well. He's currently -7 in points. Or is it time to put the Wings on the do not talk list until they turn this bad?
That's ironic. That's ironic.
Nick.
Creed break.
You're gonna get a Creed break, or you're gonna get a 30-second.
Put him in the box.
Mute your mic.
Penalty box,
Mute your
Nick.
mic during the commercial break.
What do we got to do to turn this
your
ship
mic.
around?
Mute that mic.
This is a massive game.
They're on
Wings got to win it tonight.
How about this? The Wings are down 1-0 in the first period, and they're on a whole spiral down. Nick, let these boys go out there and play a little bit, man.
Hey, they've lost 3 straight. But
Okay,
come on,
well,
let's just not
are we
mention
gonna put
it?
them on the do not talk list when they lose 24 straight? Okay,
Loud noises.
we'll do that.
Loud noises.
Let's go, Wings. That's all I'm
Mute your
saying.
mic
Let's
for
get this thing
20
turned
seconds.
around.
You're in the penalty box.
Creed
That
break.
box, that glass box you're in, penalty box. You're in it. All right, let me tell you guys about Lady James. When we come back, we're going to talk about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Deuce. We're going to speak about him a little bit. We do have an injury report from today. A couple guys, surprising guys on the injury report actually today that I was a little shocked to see. And
No
I will have a
worries.
question for you to see if you
You can
heard
ask me anything, Booner.
Or I will. Off air. All right, come to Lady Jane's
Or on.
Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That is right. No expenses spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome. Broder?
Drafting. It's a complicated business in professional sports. Do you go Eric Ebron over Eric Donald? Do you go Terry Fair over Randy Moss? Stanley Johnson over Devin Booker? Let me help you out. Jack Labrador should be your #1 draft pick, stocking stuffer this year. 1 deck, 3 games, fun for the whole family, or less than $20. You'll love your Jack Labrador pick more than you love Brian Branch and Jack Campbell. Draft like Brad Holmes. Draft at jacklabrador.com now or scan the QR code above.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live every home game for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. We hosted in Eastern Market. We hosted in Shed number 5, and it's been a bash every single home game. Usually starts at 9:30, heads up until game time. We got food, we got drinks, we got so much entertainment, all included. Just get your ticket at bullseyeeventgroup.com.
Have you ever wondered where
All
all
right,
the
welcome
fun
back
restaurants
in
get their
to
steaks? It's
Woodward
Fairway
Nights with Booner
Packaging
and Broder on the
Company,
Woodward Sports
Michigan restaurants,
Network,
hotels,
woodwardsports.com.
and
Whenever you're
casinos
watching
with
that,
prime
we
beef
appreciate
for over
it.
60 years.
They know
But
you're looking
now
at it right now.
you
I've been
can
asked.
buy
But
these
as you guys
steaks
come in, make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't yet. Hit that like button for us. We're going to keep this thing rolling here. We're going to get into probably the news that you guys all want to talk about. First thing we're going to open up with Detroit Lions injury report from the practice today. A lot of different names on it. And KG, did you throw it in there, brother?
I did.
Yeah, whenever you want to throw it up, just throw it up whenever, and I'll just read it here off my. So you see Jerry Jacobs, no practice today, hamstring injury. Brock Wright, no practice, hip. This is where things get a little, to me, as you get into these limited practice, questionable. Derek Barnes, shoulder. We did see him get hurt in the game, and I think I remember him coming out, so that was a shoulder. Jason Kabinda, back at practice today from the IR with that knee injury. CJ Gardner-Johnson, the man we've been waiting to see back on the field. He was back on the field today as well. Levi Onwuzurike, he was limited practice, though, today with the knee injury. In this last one here, I'm not Frank. We know which Frank's on there just because of that toe, but he was good to go. But Penei Sewell, this is my question to you, brother. When you see a guy like Penei Sewell hop up on that practice or on that injury report, worry level. I know it's limited, and I know it's a shoulder. What's going on with Penei? Was there any conversations now?
There wasn't. And I saw him, and he was happy. He was smiling. He was just hanging out with his teammates.
In Grosse Pointe Woods, or
none of this has been confirmed, but what I believe in
fairwaypackaging.com.
this injury list, especially a lot of the limited, I think this is week 16 of an NFL season, and the fact that they're limited and not fully out, these are just football injuries. Maybe a little bit more concerning than just like nagging soreness, but I think it's just people are going to be dealing with things. Penei Sewell, he's been grinding all season. He's been hit hard. I think these are just lingering. Just the fact that Derek Barnes wasn't out completely when he hurt his shoulder in that game, and he actually came back into the game to play. I believe. I thought he had dislocated his shoulder or done something. I thought he was going to be out for a bit. I don't think anything serious happened to Penei Sewell's. What was it? His shoulder?
It said shoulder.
Yeah. So I'm honestly not worried. The question is, and who was completely out? Why can't I remember this? This was okay. So Jerry Jacobs was out with a hamstring, and Brock Wright. That's right. Brock Wright. He's a really solid backup tight end, and he's involved in their offense a lot. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, he's not one of the main players. He's not Sam Laporta, but he has a role in this offense. Kind of think of like a third and fourth wide receiver. Like he's important to how everything goes. And Jared Goff likes to find him in key moments. And then when you're just talking the limited, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Jason Kabinda. We got Malcolm Rodriguez, who's been playing linebacker. He's been playing fullback, special teams. Do they bring Kabinda back? He's better in pass protection than Malcolm Rodriguez is, but he also isn't as good as a linebacker. Like this is where the value of Malcolm comes in. What are they going to do with that? Yeah. And the rest of it, we got Kabinda, Barnes, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Levi.
I think that was
not worried. That's it. Yeah. So I don't think it's anything to worry about.
I think it's just trying to get to We heard the stat yesterday from Biggins about the offensive line. And all those stats, when those guys are all healthy, this team is 5-0. And especially when you're going up against Sunday, Daniil Hunter, probably one of the best in the league right now. I think he has 15-plus sacks already.
He's good.
You need a guy like Penei Sewell to be fully healthy. So maybe it's a situation where there was a little bang up in that shoulder from Sunday or from Saturday, and it's like, hey, let's just make sure he gets back fully healthy. He's a guy that doesn't need to go out there and get full reps and get he's a vet. So that's where I'm at with it. I just want to make sure that he's good to go. I don't think outside of that we can get into the C.J. Gardner-Johnson stuff because that's been the big one.
I trust this man. I haven't verified it, so take this with a grain of salt. But Eduardo says Daniil Hunter didn't practice today.
Oh, if he did it, yeah,
Interesting.
I trust Eduardo.
We'll look into that, confirm a little bit later, but think about that. Sorry, you were going CD Deuce.
Yeah, I want to get into the CD Deuce stuff because he spoke to the he spoke kind of to the media for the first time I feel like in a while.
That was great.
An actual sit down because today was his first day back. It is December 20th, which he put on Instagram. December 20th. It's his birthday, and at the same time, he put that on there for a reason. Now that we know it, that today was his first day back at practice, and he was out there. You got a couple videos of him practicing, and kind of we were able to see that. You guys can go check that out on our Twitter, Woodward Sports.
I don't think those have been posted.
There was one earlier today posted of him out there kind of running around.
Oh, got you.
Yep. So you guys want to go see him on the practice field. He was out there. But there was a couple press conference today. He sat down in his locker and spoke with people. You spoke with him. I want to start it off with this right here. He talked about coming back. Someone asked him a question in regards to just like, what does it mean for this team for you to come back? You obviously saw the Bears game when you lose that Bears game, energy seemed low. A guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson takes this team to a different level. I've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks that if this defense can find any sort of corner to turn before a guy like C.J. comes back or C.D. comes back, that's a big deal because yes, I know he's only one guy, can only play one position, but his energy and his leadership changes the whole team. And I truly believe that. If you've been on a team, you know what a guy like that means to your football team. I believe that in that back end of the defense.
And it's funny you say that, and maybe this is the clip you're talking about or going to bring up, but he talked about that Bears game as like the moment where he is that in the clip?
That's this clip.
Basically, he had to kick it into high gear.
That's exactly what this is talking about. Him kind of kicking it into high gear. When he saw the loss to the Bears, he goes, "All right, I got to come back."
Mm-hmm.
So here's a video in regards to him kind of breaking that down.
Excuse my language. I'm gonna be all the way thorough. I think when we lost to Chicago, that's when I knew something was wrong. I can't tell you what's going on in offense, defense, because I was away, but I knew something was wrong. Energy wasn't the same. So I feel like I just got to come back.
That's when you sort of realized I can be back.
I'm kicking it in, but I'm in high gear now, so.
Have you ever wondered
you guys
where
heard
all
him
the
there.
finest
He's in high gear
restaurants
now.
get
He's
their
ready to
steaks?
go.
It's Fairway
I think it's all gas, no brakes for a guy like CD, Broder. And I think that's
He was supposed to be out
prime beef for over 60
months.
years.
6
But
months.
now
And he talked,
you can buy
he said he
these
spoke to the
cuts of
doctors
meat for yourself
a
at the
month, a little
steak
over a month
shop
into the
by
process.
Fairway
Like,
Packing
if you want to get back
Prime
early, I don't think they even give him a timetable, but early you got to do these things. He was like, all right. He basically, he locked himself into his house down in Florida, and he would rehab at home. He has his some trainers, some rehab people with him. But he talked how hard it was. And I don't think you have these clips, but I think it's important to he talked about how difficult it was mentally for him, being away from the team. He was alone in Florida with him and his dogs. He said his dogs were actually the ones that kept him positive, kept him focused. But just not being able to play football, his sport, like this is his life, his job. He said it was difficult for him, but he says he feels good now. He's learned how to deal with these things, like how to just move past some, like channel that into some positive energy. He took that and into his music.
Yeah, he did mention as well too. Someone asked him as well, like, how do you feel coming off this injury? One of the things he said, and a guy like him too, is he came out. He was like, I'm kind of scared. And it was multiple things he said he was kind of scared about. Was one, yes, obviously getting re-injured, because obviously that's it. When you go through a big injury, you're always going to think in the back of your head like, oh, can this happen again? So he said he was scared of that. Number two, he was scared of, and he was like, yeah, we have a lot of pressure on our shoulders now. And like obviously the way the defense has played the last month, a guy like him coming back, we've all put pressure on him, thinking that when he comes back, the defense is going to change.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm scared, like. But he was like, I love having that. Like, that's what I'm about. I'm about doing that. If we didn't remember, C.J. Gardner-Johnson has 4 division titles. He just lost in the Super Bowl. Like, he's been in these positions to where he is one of the best in the league at what he does. He said it today as well. He was like, I think I'm the best in the NFL at safety. When you have that mindset, whether you're scared, whether you're going through whatever happens, that's the dude you want on your team and in your locker room and kind of in your corner there, fighting back. And I do have faith. I do want to play this clip as well. We talk all the like. I said this a lot. Once he comes back, that defense can take that turn and make them contend in the playoffs. A lot of people, and this is what I love about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, is when someone asks him, when you get talked to, like, hey, can you guys compete in the playoffs? This man's response, I don't think it gets any better than this. This is a guy that wants to go win a Super Bowl. And I'm not talking about a division. I'm not talking about winning the playoff game. This is a man who, he goes into the playoffs on any football team. He's thinking we're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going after the Super Bowl. I don't care about anything else. It's a very short clip, but here's him talking about kind of the playoff run and if the Detroit Lions can contend this year.
You guys feel like you're a threat in the playoffs?
That's the dumbest question. You know we're a threat. Come on, man.
I think they can hear it.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest
Okay.
restaurants get
You hear
their
us.
steaks?
You guys can hear the video, right? Let
Yes,
us know.
they could hear it. Yes, they could hear it. I'm pretty sure they could hear it. I think it's just Nick wasn't over there.
All good, all good. So basically, he said, if I remember correctly, it was like that.
Just
That's the dumbest question.
That's a dumb question. Which it is a great question. I don't think it was a bad question, but
it was
the way he responded to it, saying like, "What are you talking about?" That's the mindset, and I've been trying. This is the mindset that I've been trying to put in like Lions fans' heads. It's like, go look at other fan bases that win, and I get it's our job to break the game down and say, hey, is it realistic to win? Is it this or that? But when you're in a position as a contender and you're supposed to be a franchise that's continuously winning and winning and winning, and you're trying to get to that point and trying to move on from the SOL and you're trying to become that, that's the mindset that you need to have. When you go look at like Patriots, I know the Patriots won a lot. Patriots fans, Philly fans, San Fran fans, all these other fans around the league who have teams that are winning, whether their team's 10-4 and they're mediocre, they're going to look you dead in the eyes and say, we're going to beat you in the Super Bowl. Even if they know their team's trash. They're going to be like, no, we're coming at you. And that's what the mindset that I've been trying to instill into this fan base, into the people, into people at this network. It's, hey, your team has a chance right now. Whether you think they're good enough or not, they're going to be playing a football game that's meaningful and has a chance to move on to the next round. And that's the mindset CJ Gardner-Johnson has, brother.
Yeah, it's the question you asked us yesterday, and I think a couple of the other shows too have asked it too. Like, can you picture the Lions in the Super Bowl? That's exactly what CJ Gardner-Johnson. That's exactly what he's bringing to this team. He mentioned he's been on 3 different teams, 5 years. He's been in the playoffs. It was 4 division titles. Like, he's used to being a winner, and that's what he brings to this team.
And that's what you need. That's why Bruce Irvin got brought in. That's why, like, you have the young dudes now. Now it's time to start, and that's why they brought CD Deuce in the offseason. It's like, we need those guys. Jared Goff, he's been to a Super Bowl. I know people might say the stats and all, but he's been there. He knows what it takes. Like, these guys know that, and that's like the mindset that I've been trying to, like, when I say the Booner path, and people laugh, oh, you're a slappy. It's not that I'm a slappy. It's like, even when I'm on a team and playing it, like, and I have a team that it's like, hey, if I'm in the playoffs, whether we're 5-8 or whatever, and somehow we make the playoffs, or in high school or in college, it's like, hey, we still have a chance.
Yeah.
Like, and when I was at Saginaw Valley, if we would go into the conference championship as the 8th seed and playing the #1 team in the country, Ferris State, who was expected to go win the national championship, we're going on the road. Hey, I'm not going in the locker room saying, oh, boys, man, they're pretty damn good. Don't know what to tell you. No, I'm going in there. I'm like, hey, we're in this. We're here. They all have scholarships just like you have scholarships. They all have money just like you have money. We're on the same playing field now. Let's go out and win a football game. All right, when we come back from break, I do have one more video I want to play here with CJ talking about winning the division. Real quick, though, I'm going to tell you guys about Woodward in Maine this Sunday. Make sure you guys check it out. 8 to 9 a.m., Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Detroit legend Terry Foster. Tune into that. All the Lions insider information you need. That is at 8 a.m., right? Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. Sunday, and then this Tuesday will be 7 to 8 a.m. The day after Christmas, I think I'm guessing we'll be rolling for that as normal.
Yeah, probably.
Is my guess. But let me tell you about Big Boy. Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the new Southern Comfort chicken bowl. And how about breakfast? They have the stuffed potato pancakes there, finally back. The classic lumberjack, Santa Fe garden, and also they have the new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to mix or miss. At the end of it, too, the whole meal, top it all off with the new gingerbread shake for dessert. Make sure you stop over by your local Big Boy today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like a landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and you offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They got the same great service that customers have come to know and trust, located on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile Road. Also check out their flagship location, their flagship dealership in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want, LesStanford.com.
Les Stanford. Here we go, baby. We are back. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Show 70.
Show 70 on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Whatever you're watching it on, we still appreciate you tuning in. If you guys can hit that like button on the YouTube page. Get these likes. We'll beat the heavyweights and likes today. Shout out to the heavies, but we're coming after the likes there tonight. We're going to get it.
Coming.
I want to finish this off real quick, Broder. I have one more video with CJ Gardner-Johnson, then we'll get into Jahmyr Gibbs. Finishing that there. You were sitting there on those... The whole interview, and I got a text from you. I got a text from a couple other people like, "Hey, this CJ interview, like, people love it." I saw tweets where people were like, "CJ went off in this interview." It was
fantastic.
Like a 10-minute time. He sat down and just went off for 10 minutes. And the best thing I think I took out of this was obviously this Sunday the Detroit Lions have a chance to clinch the division. CJ just got into town 8 months ago into Detroit when he signed here. This is a man who came in and impacted the city, impacted everyone right away. The blue ski mask, which, by the way, he said it's a curse. If you're a ski mask guy, he came out himself, I think, and said, "Nope, we're not doing that anymore."
Oh, he did.
Did he? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. But he came out when someone asked him about winning the division and how he would react to it. He had one of the best answers, I think, that you could give here, especially for the city of Detroit. Here's CJ talking about winning the division for the fans.
Since 1993.
I might cry. I might cry.
What does it mean to you?
I mean, you gotta think about it. A lot of these guys, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but a lot of them haven't experienced the conference champion, you know? So this is a step of feeling like a winner. If you haven't won anything, like, it's my 5th year. I done won 4 divisions. No, not to throw in nobody's face, but that's the best feeling. You can home field advantage so you guys can enjoy it. It ain't for us, it's for you guys to enjoy it to help us win.
At the end, that's for you guys to enjoy. This isn't for us. That's for you guys. He knows what it means to the city of Detroit, to the fans, the organization. I just want, and I've said this before. I remember after the blue ski mask thing happened. I remember I came on air that next Monday or whenever, or Tuesday. If I can't remember if it was Monday Night Football, and I looked everyone. We did a reel and it had hundreds of thousands of views. And I said, listen, I don't care what it takes. I'll pay some money. I'll go to Allen Park myself. That man needs to re-sign in Detroit. They need to spend money on him. Am I off on that, fellas? Am I off?
No.
I think it's like, hey, that's a solidified thing. I know he's coming off the injury. I think no matter what, that's a piece you want when you're building this organization.
Definitely.
Key guy for that locker room. It seems like he definitely is a leader in that locker room already, and you can tell that the guys follow with him with the energy that comes about when he starts talking, and the way he talks at the other team's players, he gets those guys going too. So I love his shit talking capabilities.
KG, you resigning him?
I would want to, and I feel like he's making the rest of those safeties better. He's only going to help improve everybody in that locker room, but he's the vocal leader that we need. Every team needs that heart and soul player, that vocal leader, kind of like, I hate to say it, Draymond for the Warriors, but you need that presence in the locker room, and yeah. I hope they do re-sign him, especially seeing that he really didn't even get to really make an impact for this team, and I know that killed him. So I would like to see him do that.
Shit, the Pistons should sign him.
Sign a double contract there, man. No, I don't
Whatever.
want to do
whatever he
that
wants.
to him. Don't do that to him. Don't put him on the Pistons, man.
Yeah, true.
Don't.
He wouldn't let them lose, though.
No, he wouldn't. But I don't want to.
I encourage you all, go watch the full interview. I think the Detroit Lions posted it. I don't know if we're gonna have clips out, but the whole interview is incredible. So check it out. Yeah, make sure you guys check that out. Let's flip sides of the ball here to Jahmyr Gibbs, because this was going to be the segment anyway. So we'll go about 10 minutes on this. Louis Riddick and Hank Fraley, both of these guys today, it had huge comments, and it's coming after yesterday. I came out and said I think he's top 5 in the NFL at his position the last 8 weeks. I started doing some math today. I got a little caught up, so I wasn't able to finish the Booner statistics, as Flannel would say. But there's some big-time names coming out talking about him. KG, do you have the graphic of Louis Riddick I put in there?
I do, yeah.
You want to throw that
up right now?
Yeah, because he had an interesting thing to say about him. And this is like, I said top 5 at his position. Louis Riddick came out and said Jahmyr Gibbs will be a leading MVP candidate in 2024. He has every skill you could possibly want in a running back. That's not anyone saying it. That's a ball knower saying that.
The only thing that Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't have is the Q in front of the B. In running back, RB. Like, the fact that he's not a quarterback is the only thing holding him back from this being a really true statement. Yeah, and I think, like, if you look at, like, a running back having a chance to win it, a guy like Christian McCaffrey this year, a guy like Alvin Kamara in the past who's had opportunity, like, guys who are explosive, can be playmakers, those are guys that are in those conversations. Bro, I don't want to say, like, I'm, like, guaranteeing it, but, like, for a guy like Louis Riddick to say that, I think there's a chance you see him as a top 5 running back in the NFL going forward. Top 5 running back for sure, but you're talking MVP candidate. He's one of the running backs who could do it because of how versatile he is. Like the C-Mac, the Alvin Kamara, those are good comps because they can catch the ball and run the ball, and they're like they can do it all. And I think that's what it will take, unless you have a Chris Johnson type of a 2,000-yard season just as a running back, just running the ball. I think you got to be able to do a little bit of everything. Here we go, baby, 1-to-1. What are you talking about, Nick? Baby. How about that, Nick? Who we got here? How about that, Nick? Is this Cop? Kane to Cop? How about that, Nick? Kane to K2. Mata, Oli Mata.
Oli Mata, let's go 1-1, baby.
How about that downhill spiral, Nick?
What do you mean downhill spiral? I was bringing up the fact that they lost 3 games straight, and we want them to contend for the playoffs. We want this team to be hot and rolling, just like the Lions, and they're showing up. Let's go 1-1, baby.
Here we go, boys. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right, another comment too. You were in the building today when Hank Fraley spoke.
I was.
And you did tweet out on the Woodward Sports account the comments he had about Jahmyr Gibbs. This was more interesting to me, I think, actually, because I think we all feel like and I think we know the offensive line is the heart of this team, and they help these running backs. Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach, thought the opposite, which was crazy, kind of the way he went about it. KG, whenever you can, just show that Woodward Sports tweet up about Hank Fraley.
Yeah, 1 second.
And Broder, I'm going to let you kind of take over on this because you were in the building. Crazy comments, and I think it shows how good these running backs are.
Yeah, and I don't think he's diminishing how good his offensive line has been, but he's saying they could do all the work they can. If Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't run like Jahmyr Gibbs, it doesn't look the same. But he said, you see right here, he makes us look good. You know, all we have to do is give him and Demo a crack, and then the end of the quote was like, and then they execute, and then they're gone. They do all that work. So that makes it easy. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I posted a video to my Twitter, which will probably be the last one ever, but from the locker room after the Broncos game, and it was Jahmyr Gibbs talking about the offensive line and talking about, dude, being a running back right now, and I'm paraphrasing this a little bit, being a running back is easy. Like, all I got to do, they create these monster gaps, that they pick up all the blitzers, they pick up all the reads. He was like, man, it's just not that hard. Like, the running back is not that hard, and he was being a little bit facetious, but the fact that they're both saying this, like you never hear one of them, anyone on this team, sort of take try to take the spotlight. And even Dan Campbell, like talking about, someone asked him a question about Jared Goff today. He was like, we're not singling out anybody. Like, we have conversations behind closed doors, but that's just not what we do. It's awesome to see everyone has each other's backs.
Yeah,
everybody.
And the thing too with that is it kind of shows how great these different position groups are. The fact that your offensive line is that great, the best in the league, and then on the other side they can sit there and be like, man, they help us make us look good as well. And your running back, you probably have the best running back duo in the NFL as well. Like, the fact the Lions have that right now and potentially for the next couple of years, to me, is insane. And I wanted to talk about this too before we go to break here in just a sec. A little statement here. I think Jahmyr Gibbs in the next year or two will be the best player on this football team, hands down. I think he's going to end up being the best all-around, pound-for-pound football player on this team. I know you have Penei Sewell. I know you have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You said pound for pound.
You have
now,
Aiden Hutchinson. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, he has the potential at one point in his career to be the best in the league, to be a CMC, to be a Kamara when he is at his best, to be literally the number one player at his position at one point in his career. I think he can do that here in Detroit, especially when he has 4 years here. I don't see how that's, or 5 years really, because he has that extra year being in the first round. I don't see how he's not. I think next year, when you go into the year, him, Penei, and maybe Hutch, you could say, but I say Jahmyr has the potential to be the best player on this football team, pound for pound, going into next year.
If you say pound for pound, then yes. And I maybe put him in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Penei Sewell has a lot of pounds. He's got a lot of pounds. He's the best player on this team. But I get where you're at, and I hope so. I mean, he's as talented as anybody. Shout out Steve Wiles, by the way. Come on, boys. Let's all chip in for a hat for Booner.
What's happening? I try to wear a hat. I'm growing a mullet out for the people. The people wanted me to grow a mullet, and I started it here. You guys see that right there? I started it.
That's the Booner path right there on the side.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, Booner, put a hat on. We don't want to see it.
They're messing with you. They're messing with you.
I love you guys still.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to be the martyr. It's okay, man.
Yeah, hey, come at me. Everyone throw me what you have here.
Booner is not leaving the ship. Booner will be you're the last one on the ship. That's what makes you great.
Oh, yeah. I'll go down with the ship. I don't care.
Yeah. You're a loyal, you're a good friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. I love all you boys, man.
Yeah.
And all the people in the chat. I love you guys. The mullet actually, like, I know it's crazy as it sounds. I think I actually might be Theo Vaughn's little brother.
Oh, not this again. Booner, I love the haircut, though.
Theo Boone. You can be Theo Boone.
Let me hit on this.
Boone
Another thing that I really...
Boone Vaughn. Ooh, I like Boone Vaughn.
Just like your haircut, another thing I really like, Jahmyr Gibbs. I agreed with your statement that he could potentially be the next player in the upcoming years. If he were to play every game, he'd have 1,541 yards as a rookie and 11 touchdowns.
Wow.
That's with the amount of touches that he's getting. So you think about the increased workload, we are talking record-setting type numbers in the future if he is the primary back getting the most touches.
Shout out. I love that. Next, when we come back up here after break, Jeff put a tweet out. He talked about it on the morning show this morning, and they had a conversation. I know, KG, you were there for that. But he put an interesting tweet out that kind of crazy to think about. So we'll do that when we come back from break. Broder, tell us about Dispo.
Experience the Dispo difference this Christmas season. Dispo's giving away TV as well as two $100 in-store gift cards per week at participating locations throughout the month of January. Nobody does it like the Dispo family, so unwrap the joy of the Dispo Dispensary and celebrate the holidays with them. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Ken here to tell you about Syntron. I know y'all want to get to Vegas. I know y'all want 100K. So let me tell you how you can do that. It's Syntron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win at register at drinksyntron.com/Vegas and buy Syntron at your local Meijer store. Syntron, the healthier energy drink with great taste, look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself. Again, that's drinksyntron.com/Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
KG, baby.
Shout out KG.
Let's go.
Hey, the real KG, man. Hey, welcome back to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, wherever you're watching. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like button for us. In about 10 minutes, we're going to be having a Michigan, I would say, insider, I think is the right term, right?
Definitely.
Anthony Broom will be joining the show. If you guys haven't seen throughout today, a lot of different breaking news from Michigan. Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers has been talked about. A ton of new recruits kind of coming in. Transfer portal has been on the move today. New NCAA violations and allegations kind of pushed out and different things. And obviously the college football playoffs. We're going to be talking to Anthony about that. And I think a lot of people do know Anthony because I got introduced to him, not like personally, but I kind of heard of him from the Morning Woodward show. Adam and Jeff had him on a while back. That was how I became known of.
He's great. He's been covering Michigan sports, I think, since 2014, 15-ish, and he's very knowledgeable about Michigan sports.
Ever since I saw him on Woodward Sports before, I followed him, and everything he does, it's great content. Keeps you up to date. So we'll have him on at 9 o'clock. Right now, we're going to stick it and keep going here. Detroit Lions. Jeff put a tweet out. Jeff Freddy for the Morning Woodward show, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Check it out. KG was on this morning as well with them. But he put a tweet out that was interesting to me. And KG, you could throw it up whenever you want here because I want to read this out because the Detroit Lions are in a position right now with this offense, and we do talk about this offense a lot and how they're a top 5 offense, but they're in a position to do something that no other offense in the NFL has ever done. They could be the first offense to ever produce 2 1,000-yard rushers and 2 1,000-yard receivers in a season. And those guys, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the receiver, he has already hit 1,000 plus. He's on his way for 1,300 yards, depending on the next couple weeks. You guys see it up there. Sam Laporta. He needs 242 more yards to get to 1K, about 80 yards per game. Jahmyr Gibbs is about 208 yards away. I think he gets it 69 yards a game. And then David Montgomery, 145 more to go for him, about 48 yards per game. I think the 2 running backs get it. I think Sam Laporta is the questionable one to me. That's tough for him. I know he had a 140-yard game, but just in 3 games, he would just really have to go off. But either way, We've talked about this offense a lot, Broder. The fact that that's the first NFL, so a team that has never done that before, and this Lions team has the potential to do it with 4 different guys, 2 of them being rookies. I think it speaks volumes. 1 on Brad Holmes, but I think just on this offense with Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, and just the offensive line in general too.
Yeah, it shows you like the balance of this offense is you can almost tell. You can almost tell how balanced this offense is from that graphic, just in terms of how they spread the ball around. You got the fact that there are 2 running backs for 1,000 yards and 2 pass catchers who could catch 1,000 yards is crazy, and that comes along with being the number 1 or number 2 best offense in the NFL. That's a testament to Ben Johnson. That's a testament to Jared Goff. And obviously that offensive line for allowing both a strong run game and a pass game, which seems simple. It's not. These offensive linemen these days, I don't want to say a lot of them are specialists, but there are so many that are elite in the run game or elite in the pass game, but their play drops off on the reverse. This offensive line as a unit is able to do both at an elite level.
I love this comment. Tyler Chevet said it's the literal textbook, pick your poison arsenal.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Pick your poison. Who do you want us to go at? And I think that's been something that you've seen this offense do a lot, to where it's like, hey, if Amon-Ra St. remember the Sam Laporta game? Amon-Ra St. Brown, that was one of those games where he didn't have a lot. And we were like, where's he at? But Sam Laporta ended up coming up and shining. David Montgomery, when he was hurt, Jahmyr Gibbs stepped up. When Jahmyr was hurt, Demont stepped up. And it's just been a constant, like, no matter who fills in, you have the guys. And the fact that Brad Holmes drafted 2 of those guys this last year, and they're already filling into this void, what the Lions kind of needed, it is incredible to me. Yeah. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs has been everything that we wanted DeAndre Swift to be. Think about that. Like, we thought DeAndre Swift was going to be that next guy, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs in 1 year has been everything that we were all sat up here and wanted DeAndre Swift to be. So that's where I'm a little like that. That to me, it's like Brad. I don't have my hat. Cap off to you, Brad Holmes.
Yes.
Like, that is, you made that choice. People went at you for passing up Bijan and Jalen Carter and going him, and then trading Swift and being like, what's going on?
Letting Jamal go.
DeAndre Swift never did this in Detroit, at least in my opinion. And whether the numbers line up or not, I think just eye test, it's a night and day difference.
It is. And I hate that my mind goes to this place, but I'm thinking about the missed opportunities for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe it was what would have been a rushing touchdown in the Kansas City Chiefs game, where he slipped kind of running to the outside. It would have been a game changer. That would have been a 20, 25-yard touchdown. David Montgomery dropped a pass in the Saints game as a 3rd and 10. Jared Goff threw him a screen. Probably would have been a 30, 40, 50-yard run. And then Jahmyr Gibbs also dropped one, I think, in the
Seahawks, I think it was.
Seahawks game.
Early.
It was. You're right. You're right. That would have been
right
like
half.
a 70, 80-yard touchdown. Yeah. So those plays are in there. The fact that they don't have them, that it's in the past, but they're both big play explosive. They both have big play explosive abilities. Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously the more explosive one, but David Montgomery brings that perfect balance of being able to run hard. And then that Chargers game, he lets one go for 40
offense
plus.
Is stacked, and they're going to be together
Wild.
for a couple more years, which is crazy to think. Nick, did you have something? No? Okay, you're just stretching over there. All right. I saw him out of the corner of my
Waynes
eye.
gave up a 3rd goal in a row. Our goaltending needs to improve ASAP. So.
Negative Nick.
He was rehabbing his pectorals. The last time he gave us an update, the Red Wings answered.
That's true. That is true.
Love
3-1
Jahmyr
though,
Gibbs.
man.
Let's go.
That's brutal.
Who I just had a question. It was a Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta question.
Both gold jackets?
Just
too early?
You just saw that.
Imagine that. Imagine if one draft,
good.
though. Imagine in one draft, Brad Holmes drafted 2 gold jackets on offense. Like that. And I know we're talking offense here. Even on the other side of the ball, he drafted 2 of your starters in the future, in Brian Branch and Jack Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in one draft,
Maybe.
Brad Holmes went out there and got 4 starters, 2 on each side of the ball. Like, what GM does that every draft?
I don't know. Maybe a 4-time Super Bowl winning quarterback as well. Who knows?
If I'm not mistaken, him too. It was just left off by the side of the road. If I'm not mistaken, too, someone said earlier in the chat, Brad Holmes is up for GM of the Year or Executive of the Year.
He should get it.
He should.
There's no reason why that man should not win that award.
And I know some of them
reason.
haven't worked out due to injury, but I love the offseason signings. Like take the injuries out of it, which is all of it, but forget that for a moment. The type of players, the Cam Suttons, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, and David Montgomery, like, just to name a few, those are tough football players. Those are everything those are the veteran versions of your Jack Campbells and your Brian Branches, just in terms of how they play the game. And we expect Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, that crew to be more talented even than those guys. So if you pair that all together, like the sky is the limit.
I think defense is harder to come in and make an impact, right? Especially like a linebacker or Jack Campbell. That's a tough position to come in and make an impact. Brian Branch, I think, made an impact instantly. So I'm not worried about him as much.
Pick 6.
Jack Campbell, I think, I think he's going to be just fine. Like we saw when he got the green dot a couple weeks ago, he was elite.
He was stable.
I'm fine.
TFLs.
I'm fine with that. What'd you say there, Nick?
2 tackle for losses in his first game.
Jack Campbell? The
green
only negative part about Jack Campbell we've seen so far, I'm telling you, is literally that home Bears game when he had 2 missed tackles. If he doesn't have those 2 missed tackles, I think people are looking at him a lot differently because that kind of set a little bad precedent to him. And I think now people are gonna.
I think people expected
no,
and I think I might have been in that category too of he's gonna be your starter from day one. Like he is the second coming of Chris Spielman, Brian Urlacher, or Luke Kuechly. It's just taking a little longer, and it's still taking a little longer. Dan Campbell talked about that in his press conference today. Some rookies, it just happens. They come in and they're able to contribute really quickly. Maybe he even be a little surprised about Gibbs and Laporta. He said there are other rookies it takes a couple games. Some it takes 1 season. Some it takes 3 seasons. Jack Campbell, especially playing the linebacker position, I don't think it's going to take 3 seasons.
Right away when you said Luke Kuechly, I was like, I wonder what his rookie year was. And I just want to see like maybe some guys start slow at the linebacker position. Luke Kuechly, his first year, 164 combined tackles.
Oh my gosh.
And I think he might have
absolute Hall of Famer right there.
I think he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He probably was in the Defensive Player of the Year category at that point. He probably was an all. I'm sure he was an All-Pro his rookie year. 164 tackles.
Leader on that Carolina Super Bowl team that made it there.
Yeah, only played 8 seasons in the NFL too, but he was a stud those 8 seasons, man. He was a stud. All right, when we go to break, we're going to come back. We'll see Anthony Broom maybe joining us here. I don't know if he's in yet, but we'll get that worked out here. We'll get Anthony
I got a teaser question in case we need to kill some time.
I love it. But make sure you guys stay with us here. Let's hit break. Broder, tell us about Jack Labrador.
I will tell you about it, and I got a little help from our friends in the chat here. Although I missed writing down your names, you know who you are. Drafting is a complicated business in professional sports. Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. Jamarcus Russell over Calvin Johnson. Jeff Okuda over Justin Herbert. And I think this was Steve Wild. Tony Manrich over Barry Sanders. Are you kidding me? Let me help you out. Jack Labrador should be your #1 overall stuffing stocker pick this year. 1 deck, 3 games, less than $20. You'll love your Jack Labrador pick more than you love Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, all those guys. Draft like Brad Holmes. Draft at jacklabrador.com. Scan the QR code above.
Stuffing stocker.
Stuff it.
And Hamlin Pub.
All right, Hamlin Pub, baby. Let me tell you guys about it. It is a bar where you can be a regular. I've been there plenty of times, and those wings right there you're looking at, the best wings in the state of Michigan. Make sure you head over to one of Hamlin Pub's 7 locations and experience where everyone is a regular. Half off pizza on Thursdays. Game day specials available during all Michigan sports events and NFL games. Hamlin Pub, it is the place to be. You don't want to miss out. Visit a location today and experience your new favorite pub for all things sports.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Football on the brain. This winter ushers in college and professional football, and this winter has been awesome. It's also the perfect time for you to shop for your home and auto insurance, so shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. So ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 248-800-4177. Check them out at SwissINS.com.
All right, welcome back to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Whenever you're watching that, we appreciate it as always. Hit that like button for us. Let's get some likes up here. Push the stream out a little bit. We're the newer show on the network, so we're working our way through it. We are right now, though. We're welcoming in a special guest. I actually heard about him through Woodward Sports about a year ago or so when he used to join the Morning Woodward show. Michigan Wolverines coverage at Wolverine.com and the On3 Sports Network. Welcome in, Anthony Broom. Anthony, appreciate you joining us today.
Anthony.
Oh, happy to join. Thanks for having me. Apologies for technical difficulties, but here we are.
No, hey, you're good, Anthony. We've had a few. We're a newer show here. We've had a few guests on, and we've had issues with our V mix on our side here. So we appreciate you a ton joining us. I know today was actually a pretty. When I messaged you
right?
And we set today up, and then today started going on, I realized there was a lot of things that started coming out with the Jim Harbaugh stuff, all the NCAA, the transfer, everything came out today. So Anthony, I just want to start it off here real quick. One of the big news things here today was the Chargers are interested in Jim Harbaugh. So this has been on my mind all day. I cannot get this out of my head. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is just kind of burning fire, or is this an actual thing that he could actually leave to the NFL again?
Yeah, well, I think there's no question that he could certainly look to the NFL again. The fact that there is a contract extension on the table right now that seemingly would be, make him highest paid coach in the Big Ten, $55 million over 5 years is what's been floated out there. But still some work to do on the language in terms of guarantees and things like that. I don't fully know what that entails, but yeah, when it comes to the NFL, so much of your success now depends on the quarterback that you have, and if the Chargers were interested, and if there was mutual interest in it.
There are a lot of questions about the Spanos family and if they're even willing to pay what it might take to bring a Jim Harbaugh in, but you could do a lot worse than starting with Justin Herbert and some of the players they have on offense and defense too. And I know they have cap issues and things like that. I think that's all overblown.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago when he almost took the Minnesota Vikings job, similar situation where you've got the quarterback in place, but you have cap issues and you're probably staring at a transitional period. But I don't think that really matters to him. I think if it's something that clearly to me, that itch is still there. His brother has a Super Bowl. He doesn't. Wouldn't be surprised if Jim Harbaugh wants to go win 2 Super Bowls and one up his brother. But I would say the longer that things go without a contract being signed at Michigan, it's absolutely in play that he could go back. And interestingly enough, Black Monday in the NFL this year is the same day as the national championship game. So,
no way.
Again, if Michigan finds a way to kind of ride this thing out and maybe win it all, it might just be the perfect situation for him to say, you know what, I came back, I delivered on what I was hired to do. time for me to go back to the NFL. So I really do think all options are on the table here. I really do.
I'm really hoping, Anthony. I'm hoping within the next couple weeks, somehow, some way, we all get an alert across our phones that there's a contract extension signed by Jim Harbaugh. I don't know if it'll happen, but hopefully. Broder?
Yes, Anthony, thanks for joining the show. This is Matt Broder, the co-host to Booner over here. Before we talk about this current team and their chase for a national championship, I just want to ask you about one more thing that might get in the way of a possible contract extension, and that's the notice of allegations that came out today that the NCAA gave to the University of Michigan. You know, it involves 4 level 2 allegations and then a level 1, or infractions, I should say. Could you give our viewers just a brief rundown on that and really what the timeline or what that might look like moving forward? Because I know there's some timing that goes along with it. It's going to take some time for that to come out. We're not going to hear it before the national championship. Could you just give us a little bit of breakdown of what that means?
Yeah, so basically what a notice of allegations is, and again, there's been some questions about the timing of it, and did the NCAA drop it this week to get in the way of bowl prep and National Signing Day? No, I don't think so.
It wasn't a big plot twist. We knew that was going to come from that recruiting violations investigation. It is kind of interesting to me that Michigan was served a draft notice of these allegations back in January, and then now it comes out, whatever it is, 11 months later where it's official. But basically, what happens from here now is that Michigan now has 90 days to respond in writing, and then from the day that Michigan submits its response, the NCAA will then have another 60 days to respond back to that, to where things probably from there go to a hearing. That's something that never happens quickly. You're probably looking at a 2 to 3 month timeline after that. So now you're looking at a situation where this is something that's dragging out into, next off season, deep and maybe even into the spring and summer. There could be an appeals process, which then pushes things back another 5 or 6 months. So again, knowing the way the NCAA operates, this is not going to move quickly. And it's not, this is simply for the quote-unquote Burgergate stuff. This has nothing to do with the sign stealing. That's a separate investigation that, we don't even know. We don't know what rules they've technically violated in that yet. So, to me, it's another layer to this whole conversation. Again, I know the 4 level 2s, I think those are things that, with some good lawyering, you probably get around that with a fine, some probation, things like that. It's that level 1 that hangs over Jim Harbaugh for potentially misleading or not cooperating with an investigation that kind of hangs over his head. So we know the NCAA wasn't happy with the 4 games that was originally planned between Michigan and the NCAA. Michigan self-imposed 3 to kind of soften the blow, and then we'll see what happens from there. So, crazy times. Just again, it is never a dull. People ask me all the time, when the season's over, what do you guys have to talk about? Literally everything, because it never stops with this guy and this program.
Hey, you like to stay. We all like to stay busy. Real quick, and I just saw this off the top of my head with these kind of allegations and the NCAA stuff, that level 1 violation. And you might not be able to answer this, Anthony, so if you can't, no big deal. But with the sign stealing stuff and this level 1, is this something that could be like a major, double, I'm trying to think of the word, but
death penalty.
Not death penalty. No, don't say that, Nick. Whoa. But more so just hey, you get hit with 2 violations, big time ones in this offseason, and next year it's Jim Harbaugh's out for almost the whole year because there are 2 separate things going on, and I'm not sure how the NCAA will. They're investigating 2 different windows here. Is that a big concern that you do think, or will it kind of be all looped into one? I'm kind of interested in that, to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, knowing everything we do right now, and again, there is still an investigation ongoing, but things have really come to a screeching halt with, the sign stealing stuff. And I think everything that's out there right now is what everybody knows. So there could always be more evidence that emerges, but in the here and now, you're probably looking at some petty level 2, level 3 sort of sanctions for that. If there were, again, it's still unclear what rules were even violated, what the spirit of the rules were, etc. Jim Harbaugh, I think that as long as nothing comes out that incriminates him with the sign stealing scandal, and again, you're talking about a Big Ten imposed suspension there, the 3 games. Again, that might even have been, who's to say, that might have been an overreaction in terms of what his punishment is. So again, I don't know. I think if you're looking at more games served for Jim Harbaugh, I do think that's probably something that's more in the recruiting investigation ordeal. I think the NCAA wanted 6 originally. Again, I do think that once the initial bluster of those 4 or 5 weeks where it just seemed like there was something new every day about Michigan football and Connor Stallions, once that kind of subsided and you're sitting here going, I think the question that a lot of people still can't really answer is, when you look at his suspension that came down from the Big Ten, it's why was Jim Harbaugh suspended? And no one can really answer that still. So to me, again, I don't know that, maybe it's possible that the NCAA looks at that situation as potential time served. I doubt it, being that, it really does kind of seem like they have it out for this guy. But if Jim Harbaugh were to get more of a suspension, I'd have to think, given everything that we know, it wouldn't be more than maybe 2 or 3 additional games. And at the end of the day, it all comes full circle with the conversation we started with in terms of the contract extension in the NFL. Like, does he want to deal with this? And that's the other consideration too.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy offseason, honestly. 2 investigations, the NFL stuff. Turning tables here a little bit. A couple more things here for you, Anthony. We appreciate you joining. Again, if you're listening to Anthony Broom on the phone here with On3, Michigan kind of insider here.
Yes.
Want to kind of talk about this Michigan-Alabama matchup that's coming next week. It's coming up quick, actually.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts on that. It seems like the big storyline, obviously, is Nick Saban versus Jim Harbaugh. Alabama's back in the race here. I saw a tweet today that said it's the Alabama Invitational. So I keep hearing all these different things, and I just want to get your just initial thoughts here on how you think, and obviously the TCU last year, Georgia the year before. Is this a Michigan team right now that you feel like can bounce back and kind of get that first college playoff victory and actually make a run here at the national championship? It feels like, I could be wrong, but going to the 12-team playoffs next year, this is a huge opportunity for them to land that national championship. What are your thoughts on that?
It is. Even last year we said, well, if you're not going to do it now, then when are you? But then, of course, a bunch of guys come back, you run it back, and now, they're the 1 seed in this field. And when you look at it, you look at just every roster in this college football playoff, you feel
what Michigan brings to the table. Now, Alabama's that boogeyman, though, right? And when you're talking about a Michigan program that's had these postseason woes, and there is no, like last year, I think to a certain extent. Now, they just got beat last year. They didn't play well. But I do think to a certain extent, you had those guys coming in kind of going, you know what, we're going to, that 3-3-5 defense, we're going to smash those guys, and we're going to go play Georgia. We're going to get our revenge from last year. And you got punched in the mouth. You lost focus. And the thing I like about a matchup with Alabama is that, regardless of if they're a team, and again, I look at this Alabama team, it's not, they don't have that same gear that a lot of these national title contending Alabama teams have had. Obviously, a lot of terrific players. They've got a quarterback that's extremely mobile and is going to be a problem to slow down. And you look at Alabama. They've won their last 6 semifinal games in the college football playoff by an average of, I think it's something like 19.7 points per game. Wow. So when they get here, they tend to smack you around. But when I look at this game, the question you have to ask yourself is, is Alabama better than Ohio State? Is Alabama better than Penn State? I think defensively, especially when you look at those edge guys that Alabama has, I think they're very comparable. I think Alabama's are, they've got 2 potential first-round picks at edge. They've got 2 potential first-round picks at cornerback. They're athletic. They're quick there. But offensively, they don't have – you're used to Alabama having those, the Jerry Judys, the Devontae Smiths. I don't think they have quite that caliber of guy at wide receiver. I don't quite see the same caliber of offensive line and running back play. So really, I'm still kind of leaning that this might be a close Alabama win, but this is not going to be, I see this being a lot like that Penn State game that Michigan played in. I see it being a lot like the Ohio State game where, it's not a shootout. Every possession matters, and there could be some big plays, but it's going to come down to quarterback play. It's going to come down to how J.J. McCarthy plays compared to how Jalen Milroe plays. And,
when you get to this time of the year, you could play well and still lose.
Yeah.
But when you look at everything on paper, I like how Michigan matches up. I think they have the advantage at quarterback. I think defensively, all this talk about the Alabama defense. Alabama hasn't quite seen a defense like Michigan's yet either. Georgia would be the closest thing, but I don't think they were what they have been. So it's going to be a dogfight. I think if you're tallying points for these semifinal games, I think the majority of them are going to come in that second game. I think this one's going to be a bar fight.
I like that, actually. I was feeling the same way a little bit, especially with the two defenses there. I do think Michigan has the best defense in the country, so I think it's going to be a bit of a bar fight, like you said. Anthony, our guy over here in the booth, Nick, he's got a question actually about some recruiting stuff from today. I know today was signing day, so he's got a question for you about some of that stuff over there. Nick?
Yeah, Anthony, Nicholas Koloff here, audio engineer, Woodward Nights. Michigan ranks 17th nationally after the early national signing day. After 3 Big Ten championships, 3 college football playoff appearances, do you believe the Harbaugh to the NFL rumors, the Harbaugh suspensions, or us being behind on NIL is the biggest reason why they are not on the upper echelon on the recruiting trail with 0 5-star recruits?
Good question.
I think, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of column C. I think it all has something to do with it. When it comes to the Jim Harbaugh aspect of it, I don't know that plays as much of a factor. I think most guys kind of realize here that if it's not Jim Harbaugh, it probably will be Sharon Moore. So you're looking at some continuity there. And really, when you look at this class, again, 17th, Michigan, again, they're not Ohio State, they're not Alabama, they're not Georgia in terms of the type of classes that they can probably bring in, but it's not too much to ask for them to be inside that top 10. I think that, when you do lose out on some of those guys, that's kind of an issue. But then you kind of break down. I just wrote something a couple hours ago about just looking at the guys on the offensive side of the ball. And when you look at the things that Michigan wants to do, which is control the line of scrimmage, run the football, and bring in a quarterback that doesn't make a ton of mistakes, and it leads the offense and moves the ball, picks up first downs, etc. They checked all those boxes there. And defensively, I'll dive into that as well. But again, if you sacrifice, here's what I'll say about the way that they've recruited: is you might sacrifice a few spots in the recruiting rankings, but I'm going to take my chances with a staff that has gone in and found guys like Hassan Haskins, like a Ronnie Bell, like a Samaj Morgan, like a Colston Loveland. I mean, those are guys that you're pulling out of non-traditional areas of football talent, and you get them in there, you develop them, and they turn into the stalwarts of your team. So you trust the player development, you trust the evaluations, but you know what? I mean, given that you've been to the college football playoff 3 years in a row, you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. And it's frustrating that they haven't fully captured that momentum, but it is what it is. And with the guys that they have, I still think that they can find a way to keep this window open.
Yeah, and I do think too, Anthony. And I believe this. I think kind of the recruiting side of things. I could be so wrong with this. I think it changes to with the transfer portal stuff now that they're able to kind of attack that. And we did see a big transfer today. Real quick before we let you go, one last brief question here I got for Anthony. I apologize for keeping you here so long. Are you shocked that man down in Columbus, Ryan Day, still has a job? I've been on air a lot the last couple months going at Ryan Day. Is it shocking to you that he's still there in Ohio State? And I saw some videos today of him kind of going through it so far with all these signings. Is that shocking to you?
It's not shocking, and let me turn the tables on you here. Isn't it kind of a little more fun to watch him down as bad as he is?
Fantastic point.
Would you rather watch that? So wouldn't you rather watch that the next 5 years and have them, bring in I don't know, I'm just throwing a name out there, bring in Mike Vrabel, and all of a sudden they're tough again? And I would just say enjoy this little run. Enjoy this run. Ryan Day wants to keep building the airplane out of 5-star wide receivers, but proof's in the pudding. Michigan owns them right now, and when you see a guy sit up on the podium and God, he's on the verge of tears hearing that one of his 5-star receivers is actually signing. I'm like, man, oh man, Michigan has broken this man, and it is a sight to behold, because there was a lot of there's a lot of hubris and false bravado. Even just 10, 11 weeks ago, you think back to that game at Notre Dame. So, hey, water's finding its level. So, yeah. I hope he stays forever, honestly.
I love it. Hey, you're 100% right. I enjoy seeing him over there struggle. And
that's a mic drop out of Anthony
that was
there.
Great. Hey, Anthony, we appreciate you a ton coming on. Hopefully, maybe we can get you next week as well for the college football playoffs, a little preview of that game.
Also, Anthony, we're renaming our show thanks to our chat. It's Woodward Nights with Booner, Broder, and Broomer.
Is that the Broomer?
The 3 B's. So you're welcome anytime.
I love it. Appreciate you, Anthony. Appreciate you a ton.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
You bet. Booner, that was awesome. That was awesome. We haven't talked Michigan football, Michigan sports in a while, just to hear his perspective on I know we covered a lot, and he gave us some awesome information that we got to dive into.
We're
maybe
getting
tomorrow.
closer. We're getting closer to the college football playoffs. I realized this week, and that was why, last week I reached out to him, and then I realized the college football playoffs is next weekend. Like, it's coming up here, and we have a team here in Michigan, in the state of Michigan, that's playing in it. So we do have to talk about it a little bit, and I know the Lions, all of that. But hey, let's hit break. When we come back, we're going to turn our tables back over, I believe, over to the Lions. I have a quick question for the fellas around here. I always bring this Booner question to the table, and it's undefeated so far.
Undefeated, never
I think
lost.
this one will be as well. Let me tell you about Planet Fitness, though. Planet Fitness, it is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on fitness goals. Over at Planet Fitness, you will experience squeaky clean gyms, tons of equipment, full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all those memberships include fitness training. You get all of it for just $10 a month, no commitment at all. That is no matter where you are. There is a Planet Fitness close by. There's more than 50 in the Metro Detroit area and thousands worldwide. Make sure you guys check it out. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
When it comes to riding your pet, don't settle. Give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for 30 years. They got 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, the lowest prices, and curb stomping home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
All right, welcome back to Woodward Nights and Booner and Broder. Broder, that was a good one. I got to give you that.
You catch it.
Appreciate you guys all tuning in here. If you guys can, hit that like button for us. Let's get the likes up. Let's get to 125 here. Beat the heavies out. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. Shout out to Anthony Broom as well. Great. That was a great insight on everything going on in Michigan. Broder put his stuff in the chat, so you can go check him out. He's on the Wolverine.com and on 3 Sports. So he does a great job, especially over on Twitter as well. Putting stuff out if you guys need some Michigan information. Let's turn the tables here. Let's get back to some Lions talk here. Division on Sunday in the grasp. The division is right there. Question I had for you guys, and I thought this was interesting. I always try and think at things with different angles. Look at the end result and say, how can we go around that? What are some questions to get there? Thing right now is obviously the NFC North. Lions can clinch that on Saturday or Sunday with the win, and even if they have a couple chances to clinch it in the next couple weeks. if you look at the NFC North the last 12 years, the Green Bay Packers have dominated the NFC North. They've won the NFC North 8 out of the last 12 years. It has been their division. That has been very well known. My question to you guys is, do we truly feel, and I want to go around the room on this because I want to get I want to get every feeling on this. Do we feel like the Detroit Lions can truly take over this division like the Green Bay Packers did for 12 years? And when I say that, the reason I'm saying that is because the Lions haven't gone out there and just paid a bunch of dudes and brought dudes in on short term to be great. They have been building, and Brad Holmes is built the correct way. You don't see it all the time in the NFL, but when you see it, it works really well. And he's done it through the draft. Obviously, Jared Goff, not like a elite quarterback whatsoever, but a guy that he can go out there and win you football games. And then and if you can get him cheap, or if you have a guy like Hendon Hooker, who we've seen like big good franchises like the Packers go out and draft Hall of Fame guys. If you can do that, I truly right now, looking at kind of what they've built with the guy like Jahmyr Gibbs and these rookies, Sam Laporte, I think this is something you could see in a long term where the Lions can dominate this division. Whether they win it 8 out of the 12 years or they win it 6 out of the 12 years, I think in the next 10 to 12 years, this Lions team wins the division half of the time, and they dominate and they kind of make their presence known. Brother, I'll hit you and then we'll go.
Yeah, I'll be quick so everyone can get a shot here, but this is a really hard question to answer. What the Packers did is special, but this is the goal. This is what they're trying to build it to, and they certainly have a shot. And I think to point out the trade deadline that everyone, including myself at some points, was a little frustrated that they didn't go and get anybody. That's because Brad Holmes is trying to turn this team into a sustainable winner, whether that's 3-4 years or whether that's an 8-year run, whichever. He's doing it by building through the draft, by building through the trenches, drafting the big guys, building out that offensive line, the most expensive unit on the team. He's got a quarterback in Jared Goff, like you said, who, whether he is, I'm not calling him a bridge quarterback, but your bridge to the franchise quarterback, or he plays into your franchise quarterback, that's an ingredient you need for sustained success. So you do that, and then you bring in guys. He's shown he can bring in free agents like C.D. Deuce, like Cam Sutton, the right types of football players. I don't ever see this team, I'll say it, going back to the same old Lions. I don't think we're going to see those same old habits because of the types of players they're not only drafting, but they're bringing in through free agent. They're football players. It's the Jet Campbells, the Brian Branches, Jahmyr Gibbs, Laportas of the world. Like you don't have to worry about their effort and their energy and their intensity, and then you pair that with these free agents, the veterans who are the same type of player but have had success in the NFL. I haven't seen success, in Detroit in my lifetime, but I do believe that is the formula to success. So that is a long-winded answer to say they got a shot to do that. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I like that answer a lot. I think for me it comes down to a couple key things. Jared Goff and the contract that you give him. That is the biggest reason why this team can get built with future free agents or being able to sign your own free agents if you don't give that quarterback the massive contract. I'm not making this into a one-off with him because I believe in Brad Holmes and the way he drafts to make this a dynasty-type team where we contend for NFC after NFC after NFC and Super Bowls, but completely own the NFC North. The second thing is the Bears.
The Bears.
Justin Fields, what do they do with him? Because they have 2 top 5 picks. If they land these both right and get 2 blue chip type guys, say Caleb Williams, you trade Justin Fields off. If you get that offense right to go with that defense that's massively improved, I could see them challenging in the future. I just don't see it happening in the next year or two. But after that, I could see the Bears becoming a contender in the NFC North as well.
KG, thoughts on the long term here?
I mean, Green Bay dominating a division for 12 years is a very hard thing to do. You got to have a little bit of luck involved in that. But I think we can all see that the Lions are building this thing for like long-term success. It seems sustainable for the first time like ever, really. And they can keep doing that. Brad Holmes has to continue to draft the young talent and evaluate talent as good as he is. Dan Campbell has to keep his coaching staff in good order as well, because we may lose Ben Johnson, we may lose AG, and he's been shown to know when to make the right move at the right time. going back to Anthony Lynn and firing Aubrey Pleasant, stuff like that. So if he keeps the right staff around him and Brad Holmes can continue to not only do well in the draft but also do better with free agent signings and things of that nature, I don't see why they can't dominate this division for a long time. Green Bay, they will probably come back up. You have to worry about the Bears, like Nick said, but the Lions have a head start on this thing, man, and I think we can at least see good Lions football for the next 5 to 6 years if they continue at this pace.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, and I love what you brought up about the coaching staff, because I think you're spot on. But I do think it's something we're going to have to learn. We're going to have to learn to see good coaches move on, because this is part of the culture that they're building and part of why Detroit's becoming an attractive place, both for coaches and for players on one-year deals, players trying to get that next contract, even if it's not going to be long-term in Detroit. They trust what Detroit is building. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are building a culture within this coaching staff. We talk about how many former players there are, former players with Super Bowl wins, with experience. They know that this organization is so supportive of them going and getting promotions, getting their dream job. They know at some point Ben Johnson is going to go be a head coach. They know their players are working their way up the ranks to become head coaches, to become coordinators. So they're not going to be able to keep a hold of all of them. But what they're doing, like with Scotty Montgomery, they're giving him all the tools to become a successful head coach one day. He's their representative in the NFL coaching funnel. I forget what it's called, but they want these players to do well and move on, and they're just going to keep replacing that. And because they're supporting them, that's why they'll be able to replace that.
And I think what it comes down to is, like, go look at like Kyle Shanahan, what he's done with his I'm going to call it not organization, but his like football program. Same with Sean McVay, what he's done. I think Dan Campbell can start moving to that, to where after Ben Johnson, because he's going to leave at some point, whether it's this year or next year, he will leave. Once he leaves, you're going to start. That's going to be when the answer or the question's answered, because you're going to know right away how serious Dan is with kind of building these guys underneath him. Like, is he like the Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, who know constantly, like, just his kind of his offense, kind of who he is, his culture, if that's helping them build people up. I'm interested to see after Ben Johnson what happens after that. I had this conversation with Easy the other night, and he brought up a good point, to where I think it was Sean Payton that said that Dan Campbell reminds him of an offensive Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. Like, Mike Vrabel's a great coach, puts on like everything he does is great. I think the only issue is it's not a defensive league anymore, and it's turned to the offensive league. So you have a guy like Dan Campbell, who is just like Mike Vrabel when it comes to being on guys, having that culture, the grit. But then at that same side, he's not the defense. He's an offensive-minded coach. So, like, when that transition with Ben Johnson a couple years ago happened, Dan Campbell was in there helping Ben Johnson out. He was in there working with the offense. He was helping call plays. He was helping draw stuff up. Ben Johnson started to give those plays and do his thing, and that was when he got OC. So to act like Dan, like, when Ben leaves, Dan's going to be able to step up and be like, all right, we've got our next guy here, whether with Tanner Inkstrain or whoever it is. Like, hey, we're going to have our next guy. He might not even be within the building right now, but he's going to know who he needs to hire next. Guys like Kyle Shanahan have done it continuously. Sean McVay has done it continuously. That's what you're going to see, in my opinion, out of Dan Campbell, except you're going to have that grit side and that coaching side.
That's, I think, what separates Dan Campbell from those guys. Not that anyone is better than the other. That's not the argument I'm having. But
yeah, what the heck, man?
He's a smart guy, but he has so much self-awareness that he wants to put the smartest guys around. He has no ego. He's not gonna call plays because he's pissed at the offensive coordinator. He's gonna pass on those offensive coordinator duties to someone who can do it. But I'm channeling Aubrey Pleasant last year. Offensive coordinator was the wrong example for this year. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He's not looking to be the smartest person in the room.
No.
He'll put those guys around him.
Yeah, that's what those great coaches do right now in the league. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, we're gonna keep this thing rolling. We're gonna stick with a little bit of Lions stuff. I think we were gonna take callers. I've got a question about the NFL, and I think you also had a question earlier that we could post. So we'll pose
David Witt, you still in here? Yeah. David Witt's in here.
Well, that one, if it's that question that he put in there, I want to save that for tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I want a full segment out of that.
Okay.
That's a great segment.
We're going to lose you, David. I'm sorry,
David,
man.
I love you. David, tomorrow, I know exactly what you put in there. We texted about it earlier today, and I do the prep, and I forgot to throw it in. I want to do a full segment on it because it is a great question. Let me tell you about Guardian Alarm. Customized solutions from real experts, our professional technicians. Or is it me first? Or is it you?
Yeah, go for it.
No, this is Guardian.
All right. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Give them a call anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian Alarm team member, they will stay on the phone as long as needed. That is technology backed by people, where your safety and security deserves technology that has been proven to work and people have been proven to care. That is 1-800-STAY-OUT.
But come on into Feldman Automotive. They have a world-class car buying experience they call the Feldman Advantage. They got 18 locations, so there's got to be a dealership close by. Just visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Also, Woodward Sports is there every other Monday at their Novi dealership. Check them out, Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Just visit their steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, or order online at fairwaypacking.com. Calling all landscapers!
Outdoor Equipment Company, let's talk about it. The official equipment provider of Woodward Sports, Michigan-owned, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. They have Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X plows and salters. Outdoor Equipment Company, they have it all. You can buy it, you can rent it, 0% financing, delivery right to your doorstep. That is over at OutdoorEquipco.com. All right, welcome back to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Booner. As always, joined Matthew Broder, Detroit Lions beat reporter for Woodward Sports. KG over in the TD booth as always, and Nick in the sound booth. Nick, can we just get a quick update on the Red Wing score?
4-1 Winnipeg. This is not the way we wanted it, but Wings are on a power play. Let's see if we skit one right here.
Man.
Let's get some momentum going. We need it.
Let's do it. All right, I want to do this segment here real quick. I put in here to talk about the NFL MVP. We had the conversation a couple segments ago about Jahmyr Gibbs next year having that chance. I think for him to have a chance, and I want to go around the room to see who your guys' MVP is right now. I'm going to give you mine real quick. And everyone in the chat, drop in right now who you think the MVP in the NFL, like if you had to vote today, who do you think wins it? And I'm going to give mine. Are you guys ready for this one?
Are we allowed to say the heavy favorited guy that
You can say whoever you want. Whoever you want. I'm gonna go a little different here. I'm going to go to a guy who's plus 1,000 to win the MVP. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey. And I get this conversation.
I have a question if we need it then.
Of Brock Purdy and all of that. And I went back today because I was interested. Because there's like Brock Purdy is the heavy favorite right now. I went back and watched the Brock Purdy film. Deserves it. If you watch him play, that man is out there balling out. Like, he is playing very well. But watch some of his passes. Like, who gets the ball on some of those? Christian McCaffrey. Who does he hand the ball off to? Christian McCaffrey. Who right now has 20 total touchdowns and has a chance to beat the San Francisco record? I believe it's a Jerry Rice record. Christian McCaffrey. To me, the most valuable player on that 49ers team, if you took away Brock Purdy and added Jimmy G back into there, I think they still not maybe playing at that high level, but they're still out there winning football games. And I think it's because of a Christian McCaffrey type player. When they made that trade last year, that team went to another level. They would not be the juggernaut right now they are without Christian McCaffrey right now. I think he's truly their most valuable player and that piece on that football team. And I think that kind of tunes into next year to where if you want a Jahmyr Gibbs to ever have a chance at MVP, if you want all these other running backs to ever have a chance, a Justin Jefferson, this is a year to where it's like, let's respect the game. Christian McCaffrey should be the one to get it. And I was someone, too, last week who was on the Tyreek Hill. Before Tyreek Hill got hurt, I was on the Tyreek because he was that impactful as well. I think most valuable player on some of these teams right now, you saw Tyreek before his injury and Christian McCaffrey this year playing that running back position.
I forget who said it in the chat. I don't know if it was Edward or someone else, but a question for later on or another day. Does a quarterback make the wide receiver? Does the wide receiver make the quarterback? You know, early on,
depends.
And Jalen brought it up in the booth a couple weeks ago when Jalen Hurts was leading the MVP race and A.J. Brown was playing well. Like, is it Jalen Hurts or is it A.J. Brown? So, for another time. But I think the MVP is going to be decided on Christmas Day. I think, actually, Christmas night. I think it's going to be one of the quarterbacks, 49ers, Ravens. If I were to pick today, I think the most valuable player to his team is Lamar Jackson. I think that team is a sub 500, if that team without him. And right now they're 11-3. They're right there with the 49ers. So that's where I'm going to go.
Biggins' great point here. 49ers lost 3 straight when Trent and Debo went out. And when they were hurt.
Right.
Where was Purdy then? And Purdy threw 2 interceptions at the end of each game, 2 of those losses to end the game.
It was not his best stretch of football.
It was not great. So that's something to look at. I don't hate that. And I think that 49ers game, too, I think it comes like if McCaffrey goes out there and puts up 200 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that, I think he jumps. Like before this weekend, I will put a bet on Christian McCaffrey plus 1,000.
By the way, you and I are in the semis for Woodward Sports Fantasy Football.
Fun fact, too.
Yeah, because we don't quit.
The very final week, all of this stuff happened in Woodward Sports, the fantasy league. Ryan Lentz in the back, shout out Lentz, makes the thumbnails, does a great job. When all this happened, he just started trading guys for the best players on everyone's team. Guys ended up getting hurt on his team. He was the number 1 seed, and I was the dead last seed. The last week of the season, I beat him to get into the playoffs, and then the next week, I beat him in round 1. Biggest upset in fantasy sports history. Nice. KG, who's your MVP?
Well, who I think it should be is Lamar. I'm with Broder on that, definitely. But you got to give it to Brock right now. But definitely Lamar does more for his team. I shout out Lindsey. I know he wouldn't agree with this, but I told him if anybody can do that 49ers gig, man, like you can slot any quarterback in there, they're most likely going to have success. Not to take away from what Brock Purdy has done, because for him to be a 7th round pick and do what he's doing in that system, he is flourishing. Absolutely. I don't think nobody expected him to be the type of quarterback that we're seeing like currently this season. I had to see it at least for another year before I believed it, and he's doing a damn good job. But like you said, it's probably going to come down to this 49ers Ravens game, who ultimately wins it. I'm not mad at the CMC pick, but you know they're going to give it to a quarterback. So, but yeah, that would be my pick, Lamar. But right now, it's probably Brock Purdy.
Did you guys see? And Nick, before you go here, E&E talked about it today. Someone went out and said that Brock Purdy. Who did they compare him to? They said he's like today's age. Oh my gosh!
Kind of like Jared Goff. I mean,
he named
it's a
like
similar
a
conversation.
legend. Who was the 49ers quarterback?
Steve Young.
Steve Young.
Yeah.
I think he said he was Steve Young, or I think he said Steve Young. Or
Brock Purdy's right-handed though, so we can't compare lefty to a righty.
If someone knows who he said, I'm drawing a blank
Can't
here.
win with him. Can't do it.
E&E talked about it, but it was really interesting to me. Nick, who's your MVP?
I'm right there with Broder that this is going to come down to Christmas Day nighttime game. And I got the slip for Lamar and McCaffrey. So I'm kind of double sorted. But for the Lions, and maybe, just maybe sneaking into that slight tiny path with the 1 seed. We need the Ravens to win this game. Let's go. Lamar Jackson gets it done in a big game against a stacked 49ers defense. Would be massive for my bet slip. and the chances for the Lions to get that #1 seed.
All right, I apologize. I should have known this because I watched some of the episode. Jerry Rice said Brock Purdy reminds me a lot of Montana.
Joe Montana?
Yep.
Nice.
His coolness, and he doesn't get rattled.
His coolness.
That's if Jerry Rice is saying that, man.
That's high praise.
Gotta respect that a little bit.
Freddie
Man.
felt Joe Montana.
That is crazy. Any other MVP I would say sleepers you guys think? Because CMC was a sleeper to me. Is there anyone else?
It would have been Tyreek Hill for me, but like you said, he got hurt. So
yeah.
I mean, if Dak goes out and has 3 games of his life,
I think Dak's done, man.
It's like I said, if he has 3 good games, like if he beats the Lions and their other 2 games are big. I don't like Dak, don't get me wrong, but that's a possibility. Am I wrong? No.
Random question though, because you had that bet with Easy top 5 for Jared Goff if he gets a vote in the top 5.
Yeah.
If he goes off the next 3 weeks, say he had I know he had the 5 touchdown game. If he in the next couple weeks, say he goes out there and gets 10 touchdowns in 3 games, so what? 2 or 3 a game, 2 to 3 a game.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jared Goff starts to sneak into the top 5 conversation?
He's got a chance to definitely
and
be
they
top
get
5.
the 1 or 2 seed.
Yes, I think it has to be at least the 2 seed.
This isn't a Booner Slappy coming out either. This is me. They have that bet.
This is a Booner instigator.
This is a
no,
real. I did instigate last week. I did not mean to.
All good, but he that's the type of player. It's a quarterback who's got a story behind him, leading the Detroit Lions to the playoffs for the first time in decades. They get the 1 or the 2 seed. If he has, if you said a handful of more touchdowns, another. What would it be? Three games, another 650, 750 yards. You never know. And remember, it was just 1 vote for the top 5.
Yeah, and Biggins in here said if Goff throws for 10 touchdowns and the Lions are the 1 seed, Goff better be top 5 in the MVP votes.
I think he would. Yeah,
so that'll be interesting. And if you be honest, if he does that, he has the potential of leading the NFL in touchdown passes as well.
It's my quarterback.
Which is crazy because he's only, I think, 3 behind right now. All right, let's hit break. When we come back, we're going to get into mailbag here. Everyone, start dropping the questions. Anything you want. Michigan stuff with Anthony Broom on. Anything Detroit Lions. He was in Allen Park today speaking to all the players. So anything you have there or anything not too personal, but personal, you can ask us.
Yes, me anything.
Let's do Planet Fitness first, and then we'll get Mark White.
Yes, sir. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone, where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all this for just $10 a month, no commitment. Planet Fitness, where fitness is essential.
Then after you work out, maybe you're dreaming of a new home, but we're on a commercial. We'll talk to you later.
I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy 0 turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Just in time for football. Cannabis is dropping a new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good. It's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in the honor of Detroit football. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, you are missing out. So smooth. Find them at Dispo Dispensary for 25% off, or check them out online at www.canna.com.
And if you're gloriously dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch, Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. Yes, that's right, $5,000. So call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com.
All right, welcome back into Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in here today. WoodwardSports.com. Whatever you're watching it on, make sure right now you guys hit that like button for us so we can let's beat out the heavies. Let's chase down the other shows. We're at 86 right now. Let's get over 100 here. We need 14 more likes until 100. We're getting in the mailbag though. Right now, if you haven't dropped some questions, start dropping them in there. First one I have here, Big Simmies. Mailbag fantasy question. Who do you think is the better quarterback to start this week, Joe Flacco or Jared Goff? I'm going to answer that for you real quick. Joe Flacco, it's Jared Goff.
Who do they play?
Texans, but this one I saw some stats today. The Detroit Lions and the Vikings are both top 5 teams at stopping the run, and I do know that I get the D-Mont and the offensive line and the Jahmyr Gibbs. I still think going on the road, they're going to have to be able to throw the ball and be able to get the ball in the air a little bit. And you saw last week J-Mo get involved, Josh Reynolds back involved. I think Jared Goff is going to have another one of those 300, 3 touchdown, 2 touchdown, maybe like 300, 2 touchdown type games, which in fantasy, I think that's kind of what you want over a Joe Flacco, an old Joe Flacco. So,
how about this? David Witt, mailbag. Sam Laporta's Rookie of the Year odds. What's he got to do to sneak ahead of C.J. Stroud, who I think is the favorite? You think Sam Laporta has a shot?
No.
It won't happen. No chance?
He would have to go off for 3 touchdowns a game.
Doesn't play the rest of the season, maybe.
C.J. Stroud doesn't, so he's got no more stats.
I think C.J.'s out this week. I think he's in the concussion protocol, so he'll be back next week.
Wow.
C.J. was just minus 10,000 favorite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He would have to not play.
Gotcha.
Or throw 8 picks a game.
How about this? This is an interesting conversation, but from Eduardo O'Neill, mailbag. If you put Goff in San Francisco, are they having the same amount of success?
Yes.
I think they're very similar, yeah.
I think it's right there because Jimmy G had success there.
Yeah, come on.
I actually thought that the other day, and I was like, if the Lions do build a 49ers style team, which they're on their way to doing that, that's the conversation with Goff to where it's if you don't have to pay him a lot, I know the rookie contract helps a lot with Brock, but if he does take 30, the franchise tag thing, people were mixed up, thought it was about $50 million. When I went and looked, it's about $36 million. So if you do have to franchise tag him and he's willing to play through that, if you're paying him 36 against your cap, that's 13th highest in the league when that comes along. So I think that's that 13% rule we talk about with Easy. I think if you put him in San Fran right now, I think it's a similar thing going on.
He'd be a good fit in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think it's similar.
He'd also be a good fit with the Sean Payton offense. Just throwing that out there.
Tyler Chevette, how many Lions players do you think will be in the NFL Top 100 list next year?
That's a good question.
Panay, St. Brown, I think, and this is crazy. Gibbs will be in there. Laporta, Hutch, Ragnow wasn't in it this year.
Which is the dumbest thing ever.
I'm going to keep him out. I feel like they're going to do it again. So I'm going to say C.J. Gardner. He's hurt.
I don't know how.
Let's do Frank Ragnow. Let's say 6.
He's the best center in football. Come on.
Let's say 6. It was weird. They kept him out this year, though. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He was in it the year before, too. So,
if he keeps going, David Montgomery should be considered.
Yeah,
Alex Anzalone should be considered.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're just so picky with it. I'm trying to be picky as well.
And if he has 12 sacks, a couple forced fumbles, 10 interceptions in the next 3 games, Ify Melifonwu sneaks on there.
There we go. Hey, KG, I want to let you know, we did at the beginning of the year, we did our All-Pro. We were like, who do you think is going to be All-Pro?
Yeah.
You know how tough it is to become an All-Pro.
Absolutely.
I came probably with 2 or 3 guys. Broder walked into the show, and he came in with about 13 dudes.
Jesus.
Wait, where?
All-Pro. He came in I think all these guys can get to it.
You can't have 13 All-Pros.
Well, no.
What's the record?
Well, To be clear, we're going to
Those
tell
were
the
the
story.
best things of all time on this show.
I had written down all the possibilities. Like there were some that likely weren't, but it was like, okay, Khalif Raymond has a chance to be an All-Pro. He was All-Pro before. He's an All-Pro punt returner. So, let's think about that.
You did bring like 4 offensive
Fox.
linemen.
That's because they have 4 offensive linemen who could be All-Pro. Jonah Jackson's a top 10 guard.
He's not going to be an All-Pro.
He's not going to. He's not. He's absolutely
not. If it's not Taylor Decker or
Taylor
Frank,
Decker's not going to be this year.
It's going to be Panay and Frank. Those are the only two.
Yes.
Like right now, you can really
Yes.
say potentially.
Yeah.
But at the beginning
St.
of the
Brown's
season,
fighting 4-1.
Yeah.
Laporta's fighting. I don't even think Laporta will get it, but I think he's fighting 4-1 right now.
he'll get one in the next in his first 3 years.
100%. Right now, it's just like I mean, it could go to any of those times. I don't know.
To be clear, Jonah Jackson has All-Pro potential.
Potentially, he would have to have like a crazy year, and like some guys would have to have some down years.
He would have to play all year.
Sounds like a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think that's super crazy either.
Yeah.
I don't.
Remember what we looked like in the Ravens game without him?
Lorena said, oh, I missed it. Will you ever have D-Mac on for some hockey talk? We
need to.
will do that. Once things get starting heating up here, especially when we do come towards the spring, once the Stanley Cup playoffs start coming around. D-Mac, I met Pat LaFontaine a couple of weeks ago, and that's a potential person as well. We can have on NHL Hall of Famer, by the way, as well. So maybe we're going to have some hockey guys come on in the next couple months as football winds down. Let's see, what else do we have here? Booner, can you get hair? This is Eduardo. Can you get hairstyling tips from Hollywood Jeff? I don't know. I don't know. Jeff does. He does have some. I still think my hair is the best at Woodward.
So no gel, no nothing you throwing in that. You just waking up.
It depends on the day. Some days I'll take just a little bit, just boom, just so it gets a little texture in it, you know.
I feel it.
Because I have to go into an office and work, so if I have it down, it looks like I just woke up.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
Do the chicks dig the business in the front, party in the back?
From what I've heard the last couple of weeks, yes. Everyone I've asked and said, hey, thoughts on this? I've got a bunch of yeses.
I can't wait till it grows. Like you're well on your way. It's a good style.
When I
even
turn
short.
Can you guys tell in the chat that I have a little bit of a mullet? Can they tell?
Hold on, let me get in on you. Yeah.
There we go. It's a little easier on the side. Straight on, it doesn't look as much. Yeah.
A little bit of a mullet.
There's 2 Booner paths right there on his head.
You trying to get the Jared Allen mullet or like what
the
kind
Jared
of,
Allen has like that
forms of
straight
mullet
hair.
here.
Doesn't he have like the straight hair?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do the straight hair one.
You get the,
Thanks for getting me hard, JB.
I'll get what are those things that make your hair curly? Maybe I'll do that.
You get a perm. You get the Rick James hairstyle from Chappelle's show.
Rick James.
James.
You might look like the one guy off Pat McAfee. I can't remember.
When I said I was going to get a mullet, I think his name's Connor.
Yeah, Boston Connor.
Yeah. When I said I wanted to get a mullet and the people were like, get a mullet, so I asked someone off camera. I was like, do you think I could get one as good as his? And I gotta. Yeah, I think.
Look at the most recent comment.
Most recent.
I don't agree with it, Booner.
What is it? Which one?
He looks like
exo screens. What's wrong with that?
He's driving a Subaru.
What's wrong with that?
How's the softball team doing?
Come on, man. Let's do one more here.
Oh, shout out Phil in the chat. He said I has great hair, so you know.
Phil's the man.
Shout out,
I love you.
Shout out KG to the real KG.
If you need some dreads, man, I can lend some. So
I might need some. Hey, real quick in here too.
7 away.
Harry said, "Can the Pistons beat the record of losing 26 games in a row?" Pistons will do that. I can't see them winning another game.
Thursday is their best chance to win. They have the Utah Jazz at home.
They're gonna lose.
Also, by the
me.
way, the guy who said that comment, he just came back and said it looks fire.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out.
Baby.
This is my first one, like the first haircut, the first installment. There's a long ways to go. I don't know how long I'll keep it and keep doing it, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, we appreciate you guys all tuning in. Shout out Nick. Shout out KG. Shout out Broder. Anthony Broom. Shout out Anthony Broom. Hopefully we can get him on next week to preview the college football playoffs. We will be back tomorrow. I'm going to work on trying to get a Vikings beat reporter as well. I'll reach out to Matt, see if we can do that. Great show. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. morning Woodward show. 10 BDE, E&E at 2, or 11 BDE, E&E at 2. Heavyweights to follow, and then we will be back here 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Jordan
Love you
Schaefer,
guys.
change up. Toodles.